Hi everyone. Okay, so you all know that I won't be here next week and I will be missing all of you, and I wanted to do a short sequence, so not as much holding as we do normally in class, for you to practice while I'm away. And it's similar to the yin sequence we did today in class, but I'm going to show you a little more without props, because if you don't have them available to you at home, I still want you to be able to participate in the practice if you so choose. So probably a little less holding than you're used to. And remember, this practice is a practice of choice, so you can always choose a different posture as we move, and you can come dynamically in and out of any pose at any time. So we're going to start in a reclined position if that feels comfortable. And as always, this practice is a practice of choice. So if that means that seated is a more supportive posture for you, or even standing, I want you to know that your choices are always celebrated and strongly encouraged as we move and breathe together. So if you're lying on your back, you can bend your knees if your lower back is achy, or if that feels more comfortable, you can knock your knees together. You can always use a blanket to cover yourself at any time throughout the practice, or legs can be extended long. So hand placement is up to you. You can place your hands palms facing up or down, and maybe you explore both. Or perhaps hands can come to the belly or to the heart. So playing with your options as we settle into our practice, and just noticing what you need in this moment, and knowing that may change. And the goal of this practice is to reconnect to the body in a way that is safe, in a way that brings comfort. So as you are able, always listening to your body's cues, messages, so that you feel supported in your space. So you can close your eyes or softly gaze, or simply keep them open. And as your mind may start to wander about what you have after this practice, or what came before, or perhaps judgments of your body, of what your body can do, how it looks, how it might feel, can you bring your attention gently back to your breath? Perhaps simply noticing your inhalations and exhalations. Or if it becomes too overwhelming to turn inward, can you find something in your space that allows you to ground? So that might be a smell, or an object, or a person, or perhaps just even the sound of my voice right now. As you begin to orient to your space. So starting with a gentle scan of the body, perhaps starting with the tips of the toes, and noticing throughout the body points of tension or ease without judgment. So starting with the tips of the toes, the bottom of the feet, the calves, the quads, the core, the chest and the arms. Maybe opening and closing your hands, noticing the difference, or keeping them still. Noticing the shoulders, perhaps intentionally bringing them to your ears and then relaxing them down, and just noticing the difference in your face. Can you release tension around the eyes or in the jaw? Just noticing what you notice as we move, as you settle in, as you breathe. And perhaps you set an intention for yourself in this practice. So maybe that's a mantra, a reminder to bring the body compassionately and intentionally into compassion. So maybe that is that I am enough just as I am. I deserve to take space. My body is healing. My mind is healing. I am worthy of choice. And I am not alone. So borrowing one or all if they fit, and if not, gently setting them aside and finding something all of your own. You can stay as you are, or if you would like to link your breath with your movement, on your next inhale, you can reach the arms up and overhead, reaching long through the fingers, extending through the toes. And then exhale, hands can come by your sides. On your next inhale, reaching the arms overhead, maybe extending long through one arm and then switching. And then exhale, hands come by your sides. So one last time, reaching up, reaching long through the fingers, through the toes, finding length in the body. And then exhale, arms come by your side. For Apanasana, bringing the knees to the chest, grasping the shins below the knees, maybe making circles, massaging the lower back into the mat. Maybe shaking out the feet, switching directions. And you can stay here if you like, pressing your hands into your thighs. On your inhale, pushing the legs away from the body, finding space. And then exhale, knees come back to chest. Inhale, pushing the legs away from the body, just finding some length, some extension. And then inhale, bringing the knees back to the chest. One more time at your own pace. On your inhale, pushing the legs away from the body. And then exhaling, knees come back to chest. Maybe taking a few more circles here, if you like, listening to your body, knowing that your body is your greatest ally in your healing process. And we can always listen and learn to listen to the unique messages that our bodies give to all of us. When you're ready, you can bring the soles of the feet to the mat, maybe mat width distance. Arms can come to a cactus or to a T, or anywhere that feels comfortable, even on the belly. Rocking the knees from side to side, finding a stretch in the hip flexors, keeping the shoulders firmly planted into the mat, maybe pausing on one side, finding more of a stretch in the hip. Can always bring the right foot on top of the left thigh for more of a stretch. And then switching sides at your own pace, same options. Remembering my cues are just a guide. Always moving at your own pace. When you're ready, gently coming into a seated position. You can sit in any comfortable seated position that works for you. On the inhale, reaching the arms up and overhead. Exhale, arms come by the sides. Inhale, reaching up, maybe looking up. And exhale, hands come by your sides. One more time, reaching up, looking up, and then on your exhale, bringing your right arm under your left and just exploring circles with the neck or looking side to side. So gently finding some movement through the neck, noticing any points of tension, backing away from pinching, just noticing what you notice. And when you're ready, inhaling again, reaching the arms up. This time, the left arm is going to come under the right, giving yourself a hug. Same movement with the neck. Maybe this side feels a little different than the last. For me, this is the more awkward side. Just taking that in as information without judgment. Being a compassionate observer of your experience. And when you're ready, on your inhale, reaching the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, hands come to heart center. So you can place your hands on your shoulders and just find maybe some shoulder rolls back and forth. Maybe one at a time, maybe alternating. You can come in a little cat-cow movement with the shoulders. So just noticing what you notice. What does your body need? Not what should it look like, what should it do, but what does it need? What movement would support you in this moment and throughout class? On your next inhale, arms can come up and over. And on your exhale, your right hand can come down and your left arm can come up. And we're just going to hold for a few breaths here, finding length through the left side body. Maybe looking up past the armpit. And then exhale, bringing the left hand down, staying in center for just a moment. And then reaching the right arm up and over, bending through the left arm, maybe looking up. And then hands come by your side. So coming onto all fours for a quick round of cat and cow before our first posture. So wrists are stacked under the shoulders, knees under the hips, finding even weight in the hands, tucking the tailbone, lifting the head, coming into cow pose. And exhaling, rounding the spine, tucking the chin, coming into cat. Inhale, again, tucking the tailbone, lifting the head, maybe gazing up. Exhaling, coming back into cat. Remember, you can take a different posture entirely. Can come into anything that supports you in this moment. And when you're ready, we're going to bring the big toes to touch behind you. Knees are going to be wide on the mat. If you have a bolster for child's pose, you can simply scooch up to the bolster and then recline over. Your head will face one way and then maybe the other. Or you can use a block or books and reach. Or simply come with your head to the floor. So feeling a stretch through the inner thighs, maybe in the hips, through the arms. Can you invite breath into any spaces that hold tension or gripping? And as you exhale, can you let go what is no longer needed in the body? Simply noticing your breath. Perhaps just noticing as I inhale, I notice I inhale. As I exhale,
I notice I exhale. Full inhales and full exhales to a degree that feels available and possible in your body.
You can always place a block or books. If you need to bring the floor to you between the feet and allow the body to be supported by the block as you walk the hands forward. Maybe even a second block under the forehead to allow the floor to come closer to you. So if you're using your props, you can stay as you are. Or if you are in child's pose without a bolster, you can walk the hands over to the right and then recline, finding more of a stretch through the left side body. Breathing in space. Allowing the body to relax into this pose. And when you're ready, coming back to center, pausing for a moment, and then walking the hands to the left, finding a stretch through the right side body, inhaling space, exhaling tension. And when you're ready, coming back to center on your inhale. And on your next exhale, walking yourself back up. We're going to come into Sphinx pose. So if you have a bolster and you want more support, I'll show you that option first. So we're going to lay on our stomachs, and the bolster will come under the armpits. The hands and forearms flat on the floor, and you can use a block as a base of support for your head. So if you have props and this feels like a good option here, I invite you to stay. Or another option is to simply come into Sphinx pose. So our elbows are under the shoulders, hands and palms are planted into the floor, just lifting the head, finding a stretch in the low back. So breathing space into the body. Perhaps breathing in compassion for your process, for your body, for where you are today. And exhaling judgments, negative self-assessments, knowing you're exactly where you need to be. You can learn to trust your body. And you can find ways to stay safe. So breathing into the low back. I'm going to stay here for just a few moments more. If you have a lot of space in the low back. You can come up onto your hands into seal pose. This is going to be more of a deep stretch in the low back, so only if it's available in your body. Full inhalations and full exhalations. And when you're ready, on your next exhale, maybe coming down and bringing one leg up at a time. So maybe the left leg comes out as you allow the spine to neutralize. And then bringing the leg back and switching sides. Maybe the head turns in the direction of the bent leg. And when you're ready, extending the legs behind you. Coming in to melting heart or puppy pose. Knees are going to stay stacked under the hips. And you can walk the arms forward and then begin to bring yourself down to the mat. So this is an option without props here, if you have no props available to you. With props, you can bring your bolster and either bend one arm on top as you extend the other long. Again, hips are going to be under, knees are going to be under the hips. So this is one option as well, and then you would switch sides. If you want a deeper stretch, coming here with the hands behind the head, resting the forehead on the bolster or whatever you have available to you. Taking full inhales and exhales. Can you breathe space into the body? And can you exhale what is no longer needed and what no longer serves you? Perhaps loosening your grip or allowing it to fall away. Taking a few more cycles of breath here. And on your next inhale, placing your forearms to the mat or to your bolster, and then coming back, sitting back to your feet. I'm going to do a quick stretch here. First, finding a seated position, and then can you reach for the toes? Maybe just for the legs, wherever feels comfortable, finding a stretch down the back of the legs. And when you're ready, coming to a quick downward facing dog. You can reach the right leg up and back, and then bring the knee to the right elbow, and place the leg on the floor. So for pigeon pose, you can stay here in proud pigeon, as we call it in yin, or come down to the mat, reclining all the way down. If this is not available because of knee issues or flexibility issues, another option is to simply come on your back and do a supine figure 4. So the right foot would come on top of the left thigh. You would pull for the left leg and just pull the left leg in as you feel a stretch in the right hip flexor. So that's an option. If pigeon is not in your practice or is not available, you can also use the bolster. And as you come into pigeon, just find support with the bolster here. So breathing through the right hip, through the right glute. Maybe you have tension and gripping here. Can you allow your breath to bring in space to the body, knowing you can always come out of this pose, come into child's pose, or any pose that feels supportive if this is too intense. Perhaps as you inhale, revisiting the intention or the mantra that you set for your practice. Maybe that's, I am exactly where I need to be. My body and my mind are healing. I am worthy of love. So inhaling fully and exhaling completely. Taking a few more cycles of breath here. And on your next inhale, pushing yourself up from wherever you are and coming into a seated posture. I'm going to face this way. So the right leg will extend long. The left foot comes to the right inner thigh. You can either find half butterfly reclined over a bolster here, if you have one, or for it's a little bit of a different stretch. You can take blocks and support your hands here as you find the stretch down the back of the leg, or if you don't have blocks, you can simply place your hands on the floor. So inhaling here into the back of the leg. Avoid hyperextending the knee. So maybe if you find yourself doing that, finding a micro bend in the right knee. Can you inhale space into the tension that exists? And as you exhale, can you allow the body to let go and release? Taking a few more cycles of breath here. And as you come up, can you come really slowly? And then again, you can windshield wiper your knees back and forth, or extend them long in front of you before we move to the other side of pigeon. So again, you can come into any posture that allows you to access pigeon, but a lot of people like to come into downward facing dog, lifting the left leg, bringing the left knee to the left elbow, placing the leg on the floor, and then you can walk the right leg back. You can stay here or come all the way down. Or if you're using props, you can use the bolster to support you. And remembering that figure 4 on the back is another option. So same as the right side, you would come on your back, and this time you would place the left foot on top of the right thigh, and then pull the right leg in, flexing the feet to protect the knee joint. And that's going to give you a stretch similar to pigeon, but is more accessible for some people. So wherever you are, breathing space into the left hip and the left glute. As I inhale, I notice I inhale. As I exhale, I notice I exhale. Noticing gripping, backing away from pinching, knowing that you always have choices. You can come into child's pose or any supportive pose for you. And wherever you are, can you breathe in to the space that feels tight or has tension? Breathe in something that you need energetically, spiritually, physically. And as you exhale, releasing what is no longer needed. Simply being a compassionate observer of your experience. A few more cycles of breath here. And on your next inhale, pushing yourself up for half butterfly on the other side. We're going to extend the left leg long, and the right foot is going to come to the top of the left inner thigh. So again, you can recline over a bolster, or you can be up, or you can simply find the stretch here through the back of the leg. Breathing space into the body, moving away from judgment. Taking full inhales and full exhales to the degree that feels comfortable and safe for you. And again, if the mind starts to wander, can you bring it back to your breath? Or perhaps something around you that allows you to ground, to reorient, to be present. Inhale fully, exhale completely. Very slowly coming back up. So again, you can shake out the legs in front of you. You can windshield wiper. If you need more in the low back, you can come into reverse tabletop. So we have one more pose before we go into our resting pose. So for this, you can roll up a towel or a blanket or anything you have available to you. I'm going to use one block. So whatever support you have is going to come under the shoulders, and the head can rest on a block. So you can bend the knees, you can knock knee. If there's room in the low back, you can extend the legs long. So you can bring your hands to whatever place feels comfortable on your body, to heart center, to your stomach, one to chest, one to stomach. And if you want more of a shoulder opening, you can reach the arms up and overhead, grasping opposite elbows or forearms. So breathing in to the shoulders, the traps, broadening through the collarbone, through the chest. If there's any pinching in the arms, you can bring them back down or place them on your forehead, listening to your body's cues, honoring what you need. Perhaps coming back to your intention or your mantra. As you breathe in, what can you take in that you need? Perhaps that's simply breath to the physical body. Perhaps that is forgiveness for yourself and maybe for others. Not forcing anything, but just noticing what resonates. Maybe breathing in light and love and peace. And exhaling anything that does not serve you in this moment in your practice. As I inhale, I can simply notice that I inhale. As I exhale, I can notice that I exhale. Full inhales to a degree that feels comfortable or the body allows, and full exhales. And when you're ready, bringing the arms back to the body if they're extended above, bending the knees, planting the feet into the mat. To come out, we're going to lift through our elbows or forearms, wherever you are, leading through the chest, coming up into a seated position simply to move our props. And then again, coming into a posture on your back if that feels accessible. You can, again, cactus the arms, rock the knees from side to side. Maybe pausing on one side and then the other. Knowing that this is your body and your practice. Making choices that serve you in this moment and always. And when you're ready, coming into our final resting pose, Shavasana, if that's what resting looks like for you today. So if you need movement in order to rest, know that rest is deeply personal, and honor what your body needs in this moment. So your hands can be at a heart center on your belly. Palms can face up or down. As you find your way into rest, you can soften your gaze or close your eyes or simply leave them open. Can you allow the body to have the weight of gravity pull you further into your mat? Allowing the mind to rest, allowing the body to rest and relax. You can cover yourself with a blanket. You can move to the fetal position. Maybe scanning the body once more. Just noticing what you notice as you settle into stillness. And when you're ready for gentle movement, and that does not mean now, as you can stay in Shavasana as long as you need, but when you're ready to come out, finding movement that allows you to come back out of stillness, maybe wiggling the fingers or the toes, maybe rocking the head from side to side. And when you're ready, you can roll on one side and then come up into a seated posture, perhaps leaving the eyes closed or softly gazed. You can bring the hands to heart center, allowing the chin to bow if that feels comfortable for you. I invite you to explore gratitude for yourself for showing up to your mat in this practice, because often that is the most challenging part. I honor each and every one of you for allowing me to guide you through healing, movement, and reconnection to the breath and to the body. To my fellow teachers, healers, to my fellow yogis, to my fellow humans on this path of healing, it is with tremendous gratitude that I bow to you. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.